Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we're doing casual. We're just reviewing movies. Joey V, my executive producer, sitting right across the board from me. He and I will review Weapons, Highest to Lowest, Freakier Friday, Nobody 2, and Happy Gilmore 2. Plus, we'll take your calls and texts. All that and more. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you. Thank you for listening. If you are streaming us on the KTRS app or on the web, hello there. And as always, if you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, Joey V's in the house with me. So that means we've got video. And if you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form on whatever platform that might be, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, we appreciate you finding us there. Hopefully you've subscribed by now. Please leave us a 5-star review. We're going to have to come up with a contest or something for people to leave 5-star reviews because that's going to help us out more if we get more of those, right? Am I right?
Where do you think these reviews should be given? Specifically, are you thinking Apple iTunes? That's where you want your 5 stars?
Better?
Maybe Google
matter?
Maps for KTRS as a radio station?
Well,
Just
that's not helping me.
put your name and, oh man, best show in the station so everyone starts to pay attention? Or do we want no one to pay attention to the show?
We
that
want a
works
lot
here?
of people to pay attention to the show
Okay.
who work here. I don't know if they know we're on the air, quite frankly. Who knows? I think they might think that after, 4 o'clock on Sundays, everything just powers down. They don't, who knows?
Don't wake Mr. Dorsey. I
No.
always say that. Just
No.
let us do our thing.
Matt, if you're listening, we're just kidding. We love you. Mark, same thing. But hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tonight, last weekend, I was at Terrificon in Uncasville, Connecticut, which as someone who owns and runs their own Comic-Con now, Terrificon is incredible. If you ever get the chance to go, it's at Uncasville, Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun Resort. Mitch Halleck does such a fantastic job. This was his 10th anniversary, and he had an amazing guest list of fantastic talent, comic book talent, entertainment talent. He had some of the cast of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Robbie Rist was there. He had James Saito, who I was very excited, the original Shredder. He also had Haley Atwell was there. Michaela Hoover, who I had a lovely interaction with. She was delightful, who plays Cat Grant in the new Superman movie. And of course, the amazing Carl Lumley and the wonderful Phil Lamar, both there. In case you're wondering, I did bring Carl Lumley some cheesecake. It's like finding out Martian Manhunter likes Oreos. It's kind of similar because Carl Lumley loves cheesecake, especially from edible stilettos. So I had some of that shipped to him. He was over the moon. But more on that later. So I'm back now, and we did my interviews that I had done previously. So you got to hear from the voices of Mickey Mouse and Goofy, Brett Iwan and Bill Farmer, respectively. Kimberly Sustad, who was in the Hallmark Christmas at Sea reality series. We talked with her. And of course, we had Elena Wool from Middlehood. So those were all pre-recorded ones I banked because I knew I was going to be gone. So you got to listen to those last Sunday. Hopefully you enjoyed that. The Sunday before, I was just coming back from Chattanooga from FarleyCon. And so we're going to kind of slow things down. We're going to kind of take it nice and easy. We've got a lot of movies that between Joey V and we've seen, and we haven't had a chance to review them yet. So I thought, let's do that tonight. Let's make it nice and casual. Just me and Joey V hanging out. I was sad I did not get to see Weapons, Joey V, but that's because we did not get a screener for it here in St. Louis.
Yeah, it was touch and go there with Superman because that is a Warner Brothers movie. And I don't know what's happened, but it seems like in the very recent times, Warner Brothers has stopped giving screenings to critics. I don't know if it's something to do with this big changeover with the Zaslav administration, or they were trying to get the committee together to decide if they need to change the name of HBO Max back to HBO Max. I think they put a lot of resources in deciding that HBO Go was not the way to go.
No.
So that's why they just didn't send us screenings. So we got very lucky with Superman. I think James Gunn just pulled a few strings, but it did get us excited. Like maybe some more Warner Brothers movies will come through. And no, we missed out on Weapons. It looks like Conjuring isn't going to be screened. But if it's good enough, I will pay my own money to see it. And that's what happened with Weapons. I made sure because this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year.
And you enjoyed it. Hopefully it met your expectations.
Of course. Now, I'll give a little history here. The writer-director is Zach Krager, and he was in this sketch group called The Whitest Kids You Know. And so he has a long, storied history with doing comedy. And then he came out with this movie Barbarian a couple years ago, and it's one of the sickest horror films that also is funny at the same time. You know, Justin Long, you think he's just going to explore what's going on with his Airbnb, and then just all hell breaks loose in this basement. And it was so much fun. And just based off that one movie, Barbarian, I couldn't wait for what Zach Krager had next. In this Weapons movie, I think the marketing just was perfect for this. All I knew going in was the poster had these kids running on it with their hands out like they were jet planes. And the little log line that said, one night these kids woke up at 2:17 a.m., out of their beds, went out the door into the darkness, and no one knows where they are. And they all were in the same classroom. And just based on that, I didn't want to know anything else. And that's what I recommend for everybody. Do not watch any trailers. Don't listen to, well, maybe you can listen to my review. I'm going to tiptoe around
I'm going
to tiptoe around this, but make sure you just go in blind like I did. And did you know anything about Weapons? Have you heard much?
Other than it was by the same person who did Barbarian, other than it was a horror movie. And I think I started to see one of the trailers, but as you know, as of 2024, my New Year's resolution, stop watching trailers if I can possibly avoid them. So I managed to do that with Weapons as well. I've not seen a trailer for it.
So I'm going to put it out right here. 4.5. It's that 0.5 always gets me. 4.5 out of 5 stars is what I'm putting this one at. And it's going to be in my top 5 at the end of the year. I guarantee it. Now, if we're looking back at this year so far, the midpoint, let me tell you what I've loved so far. Weapons is number 1. 28 years later, The Naked Gun, Mickey 17, Superman, Warfare, and Novocaine. Those have been my favorite movies. They're all very violent and very dark and very funny.
I'm with you on about half of those.
Yeah, I know. So that's my sense of humor. And with my screening, I was at, oh boy, they let anyone into those AMCs. Oh, there is no specific type of clientele. Anybody can go into an AMC. I was seated next to a 12-year-old boy. And
For
then
Weapons?
For Weapons.
Oh, my gosh.
And then there was, from the second row from the screen up front, a brand newborn baby that was fussy the entire time.
How'd the baby get in?
How'd that baby get in? With its very bad parents.
Oh, with the parent. Okay, so it wasn't by itself.
Yeah, the parents were actually rocking it in the aisle. Like they would take turns and they would stand up against the wall and they would just rock it. And of course, they're in the second row from the front, so you have to pay attention to them. But I would say that this actually added to kind of the fun part of going to see a horror film with a whole bunch of people, because having these kids, you know, waiting for the 12-year-old to just puke his guts out because it's so disgusting, or, you know, to his parents to feel the sense of regret when maybe a demon pops out like in Barbarian. I was excited for that. And then this baby crying up front, that sound kind of works with this movie where there's 17 kids missing. Like, oh, there's one up front. No, that's just the baby that was in the front. But my audience was just so involved. I mean, there are some great what the F moments, and people were literally saying that next to me. People were, you know, screaming and gasping at these beautifully choreographed moments. So I highly recommend see this in a crowded theater. It is so much fun to see Weapons and any horror film like that. And no offense, AMC, but the Esquire and Clayton, you could do better. That's all. I can hear every movie on either side bleeding through the walls. AMC Esquire, how dare you?
They do need to kind of soundproof their theaters better there at the AMC on off of Clayton Road.
But it's right behind my house, so I can't not keep going to it. No, the creepiest thing about this movie Weapons to me is that there is this one house that's the focal point, and it looks identical to the house that my girlfriend grew up in. And when we started dating, I would go to that house all the time, and her parents still live there. So it creeped me out even more. It had the same amount of windows, kind of the same sort of color to it. It was in the same sort of neighborhood. It was insane that Zach Crager somehow just looked
Knew
through
your
my
ex-girlfriend's
past
house,
and cast my house and didn't even tell me. Another little surprise, I think, is part of Zach Crager's sense of humor is that he used the artwork from Steamboat Willie just randomly. You know, it's in the public domain now, that Mickey and Minnie. And so there's a couple characters that have that on their shirts. And it reminded me of all of the things that become horror films. As soon as they go into public domain, there's going to be a Mickey and Minnie, horror film. And there was Screamboat that came out this year. Same with Winnie the Pooh. There was a couple of those, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movies.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of a fun wink. There was a Popeye the Slayer Man. That's one of the more recent ones that came out in the public domain.
Why do they always make horror movies out of these? Why aren't they doing fun, wholesome Popeye and Mickey Mouse movies? Why do they got the horror genre?
I don't know.
Having to go with these guys. That's
And I hear people kind of trying to guess what this movie is about. And I've listened to the director do interviews. And he says it's just about loss. It's about dealing with loss. Some people are trying to project that it's all about school shootings. I didn't see that when I saw it. And his actual description of it is it's like Magnolia meets Hereditary. So if you haven't seen Magnolia, it's all these different characters' stories that overlap and come together and bisect and come, and you see it from a different perspective. So even though this movie's 2 hours and 8 minutes, it flies by. I mean, the pacing is incredible on Weapons because you get invested into the story and then it starts over from a different angle and then you see how it comes together. And right there, I mean, I was sucked in the entire time. I wasn't bored for a single second. So Magnolia meets Hereditary, and Hereditary, that's what they call maybe elevated horror, and that was disturbing as well. Do you remember, did you see Hereditary at all?
I did not see Hereditary.
The little girl that clicks her mouth and then her brother sees something disgusting. So I think that's the perfect encapsulation. Magnolia meets Hereditary. And I definitely think this is going to maybe make it into that Oscar-worthy category of horror films. Now, we had a big surprise with Sinners, where it was huge for Warner Brothers, and it made a ton of money.
Yeah.
And Ryan Coogler has been proven and tested to be Oscar-worthy. I mean, he made those Creed movies, and he's done Black Panther. So Sinners is already going to kick down the walls this year of being nominated for Oscars for a horror film.
Good.
And I think Weapons is going to be right behind it as well. There's a lot of mystery and drama. It feels like almost a David Fincher serial killer type movie, like Seven in the beginning, and then it turns into this mystery, and then the horror comes in a little bit, and then there's the humor, and so it's hard to pin it down as just a horror film while you're watching it for the first hour, but it pays off. The gore is there, and I loved it.
I'm trying to keep up with the comments as we go. Mostly superheroes. Hello to all of you listening. Appreciate that. Shannon, hello to you, Shannon. Of course, My Flock, hello, My Flock. All of you listening. Shannon says horror films are big this year. I think we have had a lot of really good ones so far. When you mentioned Sinners and Weapons, obviously. And I know I did not personally like 28 Years Later, but a lot of people did. I seem to be the outlier on that. So there's that one as well, which is good. The more horror movies succeed, I think you and I were talking off air that Weapons was Warner Brothers' 10th consecutive movie opening to $40 million or greater, which is now a record, I guess, which is great. So I'm glad to see the movies and movie theaters doing better. I want that to happen so we get more big
especially
blockbusters
when they're budgeted correctly.
Yes.
Now, Weapons was about $42 million, I've read, for the production budget, and it has made $148 million worldwide so far.
So that's great.
And it's an original movie for adults, and it's a horror film, and it's number one. I think that is wonderful for the state of movies, especially. Some people are kind of worried about Zach Crager because his next project is going to be Resident Evil. And they say, well, why don't you make another original horror film? But Zach Crager has said he's never seen a Resident Evil movie. He's only played the video games. So I like where his mind is coming from because I played those games.
Yeah.
I was so scared to play Resident Evil 2 that I actually read the entire instruction manual first so I'd know what monsters were going to come at me first. Because that Resident Evil 2, it just starts off so terrifying when you're in that bus and you have to walk through and it's on fire. Oh, boy. So I can't wait. But he's got a lot of other original films coming through. And there was a bidding war for weapons, and Jordan Peele, his production company, they lost out, and he fired the people in charge, like his agents or whatever, that didn't secure the rights to weapons and working with Zach Krager. He was so mad he fired the people in charge. So that's how much people are loving him right now.
Yeah, Silent Hill was that way for me. Like the video game, I was playing them on my original PlayStation. I was like, this is creepy as all get out. I almost said something else. But yeah, so I only played Resident Evil at the arcade.
Oh, okay,
so maybe that's why it was never that scary for me. But I got that. I'd be playing Silent Hill alone by myself at home, and like, I turn all the lights on and blast the music. This is really creepy.
Here's some interesting trivia about weapons. Now, I said that Zach Krager, the writer-director, he was in this sketch comedy group on The Whitest Kids You Know. The Whitest Kids You Know, the most visible guy from that group was Trevor Moore. And he died a few years ago, tragically. I think he had a bit of a drinking problem, and he accidentally jumped off his balcony of his house, and he died because he landed on the concrete. And this was so just disturbing and heartbreaking for the director of Weapons, Zach Krager, that he started to write a movie about loss. And that's what this movie is. It's his way of dealing with the loss of his best friend, Trevor Moore. And the movie came out the same day that he died. So on the poster, it says August 8th, but of course, Thursday screenings, August 7th. Trevor Moore died on August 7th. And if you look at the timeline of when he was drinking, I believe he jumped off the balcony and died at 2:17 a.m. And that's when these kids run out of the house. So it's interesting how much real life stuff
creepy. Oh my
he
gosh,
put into
that's
this
got
movie
chills.
to help process the loss of his friend. So if you go, James, hopefully I make a really cool movie about our friendship.
Yeah. If I die anytime soon, do I need to do it in that type of method?
Any way you want.
Anyway.
Just make sure the security camera is going so we know the
Gotcha.
exact time of death.
Understood. I'll leave a note. Today, Joey, at 8:15.
Oh, put me in the note.
Yeah.
My goodness, that'll be
That'd be
great for my
better.
screenwriting.
See? Anything I can do to help a friend. Let's be honest.
Our best friend, Bob Singleton, he's going to help me write this horror film.
There you
I
go.
think we're going to both just make it huge. I love it.
Perfect. So that is, and you said 4.5 out of 5 stars for
4.5
weapons.
out of 5 for weapons, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to keep being number one. I don't know what's going to take it out
I didn't
of
see
number
anything on
one
the
right
horizon
now.
because we didn't get any screeners at all this coming week. This upcoming week, we have no screeners.
Yeah, I saw highest to lowest. Not that we need to review that right now, but that is going to be in theaters for a couple weeks, and then it's going straight to Apple because it's an Apple movie.
Right.
So there's no way that new movie is going to kick that out of the number one slot. I
No.
think Weapons is going to have legs.
Yeah. And Superman just released on digital this past week. So that might take a lot of people, I'm just going to see it on digital. Why would I go to the theater?
Yeah, they bumped up
Superman
the
shouldn't be.
Superman digital release so it could come out in time for the Peacemaker season 2.
Right. Yeah.
Because James Gunn wanted more people to see the Superman stuff. Because
Before,
I bet
right.
it figures a
Probably ties in somehow, yeah.
huge amount to that
Yeah.
Peacemaker. And I love Peacemaker. That show, season
It was
1, was
very
so
good.
fun.
I wasn't a fan of the way they portrayed Vigilante, but that's fine. Overall, it was pretty good. Yeah, okay. So the other movie, we're talking about 5 of them tonight, so we'll move on to one of the ones I've seen, which I asked you if you were going to go to this screening, and you said no, just flat out hard no.
How dare you?
Was Freakier Friday.
I don't
Now-
have any memories of that first one.
didn't?
I didn't see it. I know the basic plot, but I don't know much about
I-
why they needed to make a second one.
I had to go back and look. I did not see the original. I thought maybe I did, but then I was confusing it with another film. So Freaky Friday came out in 2003. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan pre her problems. All the stuff that Lindsay Lohan went through with her drug addiction and her going into rehab and all of her...
Her ankle monitor, she
yeah.
couldn't make movies because she was on house arrest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be so it was nice. This movie was nice in several respects. I liked it because I like when people come back. Redemption arc. We had Robert Downey Jr. went through a lot of crap.
Yeah.
But people really celebrated his comeback, when the people from Disney weren't sure they wanted him as Tony Stark because of all the insurance money it's going to take to insure this guy, and he proved them all wrong. He's been rock solid, and I like people who beat the odds. I like the comeback story, And that's not what this movie was about per se, but the fact that Lindsay Lohan looks healthy, she's doing well, and that this movie was so well received. It's currently sitting at 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is fantastic. 3.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. So it's doing really well, which I like to see. And then the whole cast came back. Jamie Lee Curtis, we've got Chad Michael Murray who comes back. Mark Harmon's in it again. And it's a really charming movie. For the screener we went to, there were a lot of moms who were probably old enough to have seen Freaky Friday in 2003, probably when they were in high school or college. And now here we are 22 years later, they're bringing their daughters with them. And that's kind of the theme for this movie. Some of them came dressed in pajamas. It was so cute. But that's kind of that whole thing. Now Lindsay Lohan has a daughter of her own, which makes Jamie Lee Curtis a grandma. It's a great story. It felt very much, and I remarked this to my wife as we were leaving the screening, I said, this felt like a classic late 90s, early 2000 era Disney movie. It had that feel, that nostalgic feel that also felt very fresh. It was a fun movie. It was charming. Everyone turned in a great performance. And I think I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars.
I was impressed. I saw your review pop up on Letterboxd with the star rating. I thought, wow, James really had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I know I don't know, because they always say, sometimes they'll say, well, this movie wasn't made for you. I don't know if this movie was made for me or not, but you don't want to make a movie that's for a particular demographic, in my opinion, and just ruin the rest of the, well, okay, I guess I won't go see that then. I enjoyed the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a nice callback to a lot of that early 2000s, 90s nostalgia, as I said. Some of the jokes, they were jokes that if you saw the first movie landed really well. They had jokes that you didn't need to see the first movie and they landed really well. They did a good job of explaining some of the backstory without having to see the first movie, which I always think is great, because if it's required reading to go see something else, then again, I think the movie's kind of missed its mark and not done its job properly either. So for anyone who's interested, this is just a fun movie. Saturday afternoon, grab some popcorn, take a family member and go check out Freaky Friday. It is it's nothing that's R-rated, so I'd say, yeah, like I said, take your kids. If it's a mom and daughter, grandma wants to take the grandkids to it because, she may have seen this one with her daughter before, and now she's going back to see the sequel. But it's been quite a year for sequels, as they mentioned. It's a good year for horror movies. It's been a good year for sequels so far too, because we've got a lot of those that have come out. But I'd say Freaky Friday, kind of Freakier Friday, stands a little bit above the other ones that I've seen so far this year. That's why I give it 4 out of 5 stars from me.
And it looked like the production budget was at $45 million, and it's made $86 million worldwide so far.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's even more proof that you can't just send stuff straight to streaming.
Right.
If you put it in theaters, people will go see it. Moana 2 was supposed to be direct to Disney Plus. They put it in theaters. I didn't love Moana 2, but it still made $1 billion. I think the live-action Lilo and Stitch was also supposed to be straight to Disney Plus. Yeah. That made $1 billion. So it's just more proof that if you put it in theaters, people will see it. And then once it hits streaming, it'll be number one because it has the prestige of being in theaters. I don't know who thought this was a smart idea. It was COVID when they were doing day and date.
Exactly.
But keeping up that day and date or going straight to streaming was a stupid idea. I mean, the same with Amazon Prime. I think their number one movie of all time streaming is that Red Notice. What was the Christmas one with The Rock?
Oh yeah, Red One.
Red One, and it's because it was in theaters for a few months before it went to streaming.
Yeah,
so
my Christmas cast from Christmas Traditions, we all went and saw it in the theater, and we had a great time. It was fun. It was a lot of good elements to that movie. And again, it's an original idea, which I think we need more original ideas. We need budgets that are within striking distance of actually being able to hit, because that's 2 movies we've talked about in a row now, Freakier Friday and Weapons. Not huge budgets. They weren't these $150 million blockbusters that then you need to throw $150 million marketing behind. The marketing campaign for both these movies was very low key, and both of them have been successful. So I think that's kind of the message coming out here. Very quickly, I want to get to the comments. Shannon says, Joey V still hating on Moana 2. Just do not like that movie. But she says you do give great movie reviews, and thanks for all the details.
Oh, thank you, Shannon.
Chance, our friend Chance from the Nostalgic Pod Blast, says he was actually, because they film a lot of these stuff in Atlanta, and Chance lives in Atlanta. I was on the set of Weapons in a small scene with Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, and Benedict Wong. I was a parent of a missing kid chasing the teacher to her car at night with Josh Brolin's character. So
That's incredible.
That's really cool, Chance. I did not know. That's I haven't seen the movie yet, but
It's a shame that movie's so dark. They should brighten it up so we can see Chance better.
I know. That's really cool, though. I'll have to make sure. We shot that at a school in Tucker, Georgia in June of 2024. He's in 2 scenes.
I just
Very
saw
cool,
a headline
Chance.
that said Marvel is going to be abandoning Georgia so they can get cheaper labor over in Europe.
Oh.
It's wild that we can't make the number one export of America is movies. And everyone's like, yeah, let's go to Canada. Let's go to
Pretty sure
Europe.
it's number 2. I think our number 1 export is diabetes.
Oh, yeah, diabetes.
I could be wrong, but I'll have to check the stats on that. It may have changed since the last time I've seen it. We're 24 minutes in. We've reviewed 2 of our 5 movies. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We still have to review Nobody 2, Highest to Lowest, and Happy Gilmore 2. If you have a comment for us, you can feel free to leave it in the chats like Chance and Mostly Superheroes and Shannon and MyFlock. Or you can text us on the KTRS text lines at 84126. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550. Please stand by.
Congratulations to John Beal Roofing.
Turbo, and Side Hill. The GoBot invasion has begun. GoBot from Tonka.
Stomper SSE Supercycles. Cycles with the speed you power with a quick pull of the ripcord. You can race them with a friend. Or you can set up your own action stunt course, indoors or out. The Stomper SSE Supercycles are cycles with speed.
Take care of it. Keep it local and keep it John Beal. Keep it in the family for 20 plus years. John Beal Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF or johnbealroofing.com.
Experience your banking your way with Royal Banks of Missouri's interactive teller machines. No matter rain or shine, hot or cold, our friendly staff is there to provide real-time assistance through a live virtual session on our machines, even during evenings and Saturdays. Visit an interactive teller machine at any Royal Banks location and just tap the screen to enjoy convenient, secure banking support. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back. Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstone. I want to make sure we tell you about our official comic book sponsor, Bugs Comics and Games. If you haven't had the chance to check out, I was just out there Saturday to pick up some comics. And I love seeing the people come in the door and they're looking around for stuff. And oh my gosh, they're going through the back issue boxes, pulling stuff out of there. They're people getting their new stuff off the shelf. And it's nice to have that mix. Some comic book shops, I should say, some comic book shops only do new comics, which is, that's okay. That's good. You want people reading new comics. But I like the back issues. And then there are other shops that only have back issues. And you kind of want that mix. Larry has that at Bugs Comics and Games. Plus, toys, cards, collectibles, and more. So it's your one-stop shop for any kind of thing you might want in the comic book realm. He's got a really cool, speaking of Fantastic Four, he's got one of those Toy Biz Galactuses that are like, I don't know, 24 inches tall. But the big giant Galactuses from the Toy Biz line, which I thought those Toy Biz, they used to come out with those Iron Man and Spider-Man when they had the license. Those were some of the coolest toys. And he's got one of those. He's got some of those Marvel's first appearance. He's got some of the Universal Monsters figures, just a little bit of everything. So go check him out if you're in the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area. He's right there on Bryan Road in O'Fallon, Missouri. You can check him out there at his shop. Also, follow him on Instagram and on Facebook. It's Bugs Comics and AND Games. And if you see something you like on Instagram, tell him, hey, I want to grab that from you, and he will send you a PayPal invoice. You pay the invoice, he ships it right to your door. It's like having a local comic book shop online. Check him out. Support him any way you can. Follow his page, like him, and all that kind of good stuff. Let him know that you heard about it here on Geek to Me Radio. And like I said, if you get the chance, pop out there and check out all the stuff he has for sale. Bugs Comics and Games, very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. Talking movies now. We just finished with our reviews of Weapons and Freakier Friday. We're going to move to another movie that I have not seen that Joey V got to see, which was Highest to Lowest.
Yes. Did you even know about Highest to Lowest?
I did not.
Okay.
That's why I wasn't. I got the thing for the screener. I'm like, I haven't heard anything about this movie. Sometimes I just, I can't go to see everything.
Well, it's awful yet watchable. I give it 3 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
It's based on the 1963 film by Akira Kurosawa called High and Low, and that movie is a masterpiece. And it was interesting to watch that movie in my head while watching Highest to Lowest on the screen, just comparing notes to see what Spike Lee borrowed, what he stole, what he left out. And it's just really poor filmmaking on Spike Lee's part.
That's a shame.
I'm a big fan of Spike. A lot of his stuff is just all-time classics. I mean, Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X, he is cemented as one of the greatest ever right then and there. But then he made a couple years ago for Netflix, Da 5 Bloods, which was a Vietnam movie. It was one of Chadwick Boseman's final appearances.
Oh, gosh.
About these Vietnam vets who go back to get some treasure that they left behind. So he's still got some talent left in him, but he is doing a lot of stuff that is written by other people. He was a writer-director when he started out, when he splashed onto the scene. And, this is along the lines of Old Boy, which was a remake of an Asian film that everyone loved, but the remake was garbage. And so this is similar to that, but it's bad because Spike Lee is taking the Adam Sandler route. It's kind of like Happy Gilmore 2 in that it's filled with cameos from friends. And in addition to seeing people that you recognize, I mean, he does extreme close-ups on things that he likes. Denzel's apartment in this has artwork all over the wall, and he just lingers on this artwork, and you can see, oh, this must be a friend of his. There's a giant Kamala Harris poster in his son's bedroom, and you think, what 19-year-old kid has that big of a Kamala Harris poster in a room? There's an awkward line from one of the actresses where she shouts out that she went to Spelman College, which is a historically black university for women, but the way she delivers the line is weird. And his friends show up like this basketball player, Rick Fox, Anthony Ramos, Rosie Perez, just weird cameos. There's real-life Yankees fans who break the fourth wall to yell into the screen that Boston Red Sox suck. And so, and then Don Lemon shows up, and he's supposed to lend some gravitas to this kidnapping that happens. And Don Lemon has been canceled from culture, basically. So it's weird to see him pop up. He's got no logos around him. He doesn't work for CNN, but they didn't even come up with a fake TV show for him to be on. It really took me out of it, seeing Don Lemon as the voice of reason in this movie. But the basic plot is that Denzel Washington is a big music mogul, like Jay-Z, like one of the best ever. And then somebody gets kidnapped, and they're trying to get a ransom from Denzel Washington. So he's conflicted about whether he should pay the ransom or not because, if you give this money to someone, it's going to ruin his other business deals, but also he'll look bad if he doesn't pay it. So that conflict is throughout the movie, and that's what keeps it interesting. And it made me think, if Jay-Z was actually in this role, could he have done it better? Because Denzel is just kind of mumbling through this movie, and he's got this bottom lip thing where he's always got it tucked and it's flapping in and out all the time. You can't tell if he's sad or if he's just like biting his lip, or maybe he's trying to keep his caps in. I know he's got fake teeth now. He used to have, real teeth when he first started acting. So
I didn't know that.
The detective work is what made that original 1963 Kurosawa film so good. I mean, the detectives were so smart and helped out the guy who was being held for ransom. But this one, the detectives are completely inept. They don't help out with anything, and Denzel has to take the case on himself. So that's what was so frustrating, because as I'm watching the original Kurosawa High and Low in my head, I'm just annoyed at how stupid these detectives are. And the actor who plays the State Farm insurance guy, Mayhem, who's always got a Band-Aid, he's one of the detectives. But then the movie breaks that fourth wall by making State Farm jokes, and some guy whips out a gun, and the gun is named Mayhem. So I don't like these little winking nods that Spike chose to do. It's an A24 distributed film, and one of the addresses is A24, and he just zooms in on it and holds it for way too long. all these little things that you think maybe you would get style points for just took me out of the movie.
Interesting.
And there's this weird turn where in the beginning of the movie, everyone's happy. Denzel is with his wife. They're talking about how much they love each other. He walks out on the balcony, and he comes back in 10 seconds later, and he says, "Someone's kidnapped my kid." And you don't hear the person on the other line making the demands. It's just a turn in the movie where you go, oh, I guess we're in kidnapping mode now. It just comes out of nowhere.
Huh.
And the handoff for the money, once he actually decides to maybe pay this ransom, is so convoluted. There's 7 or 8 people on a moped. But then later on in the movie, you only see the one guy, the one kidnapper. None of his other accomplices get arrested. And then there's a big showdown between Denzel and the kidnapper that just ends with a thud. You know, it was very underwhelming. But
And you gave this 3 out of 5?
I gave it 3 out of 5
the much
because
you're complaining, it sounds like it should be lower.
it is interesting to see the mystery unfold. But then, of course, the big clue that turns the whole movie around of how they figure out who the bad guy is given away way early in the movie. You can tell what's going to happen, what's going to make the case get solved. And so maybe I'm just a good guesser, but I think if you've seen the original one, you're really not going to like this one. So I'm really giving that 3 out of 5 for people who have never watched the Kurosawa High and Low. If you're just going to watch this, I highly recommend you wait till it comes out on Apple TV Plus. That's going to be on September 5th, so it's a couple more weeks. But, you know, if you go see it in the theater, obviously that's great, but it was not worth paying a movie ticket in my mind.
All right. Well, there it is for highest to lowest.
And a big problem I have with Denzel is that he wears these giant diamond earrings in the movie, but he's also a good music producer and he has headphones on. How can you have headphones on for hours at a time with these giant diamond earrings digging into your head?
That would hurt.
I didn't like that part. As someone who wears headphones 8 to 10 hours a day, that felt like I should have been a consultant on that movie.
Someone should have asked. So that's why I said, if anyone out there in Hollywood needs help, Joey V and I would love to lend our skills as a consultant for some of these just foolish decisions you're making.
And the final thing that I'll say about highest to lowest, the movie ends with the credit song. Let me see if I can say this. Preisen Kohlen Einsen ein Kusol. Do you know the gibberish song, this Italian song? Okay. It's this
Should I try to find it on YouTube?
No, you don't have to play it. It came out in 1973, and people call it the gibberish song. This Italian singer, he made up a song of what rock music from America sounds like, but he made all the lyrics gibberish, and that's what it's like being an Italian when you don't know English, when you hear an American rock song. So he was trying to do this meta-textual thing, like, what if I made an American rock song that really slaps and is really good, but it's all gibberish, so that people in America can know what it's like for us Italians.
Interesting.
So this song, they play it at the end, but it's like a cover of the gibberish song. It plays during the end credits, and that sums up this movie. I mean, it completely misses the point of the original, and all you're left with is a corny cover that's forgettable and should only be experienced on streaming. So if you haven't heard Preisen Kohlen Einsen ein Kusol,
which I've not, no,
by Adriana Celentano, it's a really great song. It doesn't have, it's like a beat that just keeps going and going, but it's a really well-made song. And they do that song, but some girls singing over it, and they miss the point.
Okay. So there you go. You might want to wait for streaming on that particular movie.
Apple TV Plus, September 5th.
Plus. We're going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and take a next break right now, Artie, since I want to make sure we kind of stay up on these things. We're going to come back. We're going to hear my review of Nobody 2, and then Joey V and I will tag team Happy Gilmore 2. So stick around again if you'd like to give your thoughts on any of these movies. Chance from the Nostalgic Pod Blast of The Naked Gun was shot in Atlanta as well. Not doing well at the box office, though. Debuted at number 3. That's okay. It was a packed field that weekend. Stick around. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS.
Could look alike, twins look alike, upside down. Strawberry shortcake with custard and lamb and Ada with sugar woofer, each sold separately.
Sugar woofer? How do you tell the twins apart? I sniff them. They both smell lemony. That's why they're called Lem and Ada. But which is which? Dog defino.
New lamb and Ada with sugar woofer, Strawberry shortcake with custard sold separately.
They're here. Zero gravity cliffhangers. Cause you race them upside down. Plummeting through the giant loop as you reach for new speeds and use your skill to master the death-defying spiral and blast up the wall to zero gravity. Then turn out the lights and you're in night glow. Now make your final move to take the lead and win. Zero gravity cliffhangers. Now with night glow. New from Dyco. Go.
It's time to start the Strawberry Lamb Bake-Off in honor of my very new Sweet Sense kitchen. Okay, you can start cooking.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio, man. This is the only radio show that the guy does Batman Beyond listens to for his geek news.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you, Kevin Smith, for bringing us back. And thank you to the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau for helping us stay on the air. That's right, the Convention and Visitors Bureau of St. Charles, historic St. Charles, my very first sponsor, and they've continued to stay with me throughout. Want to go down there and check out something fun. If you want to take one of their tours, their Hit the Bricks tours are in full swing. You can go by the Visitors Center right there in the 200 block of South Main, and you can sign up for a tour. One of their very knowledgeable tour guides will take you up and down South Main and explain to you the significance of what all happened. There's a lot of history up and down that street, and it's so cool to be just immersed in it. Put yourself in the hands of someone who knows what they're talking about, who lives and breathes it, and just let yourself go. It's a nice way to spend an afternoon or an evening. Sometimes they have evening tours, I believe, on weekends, so you want to check that out. And if you're looking for some good food, there's a lot of restaurants up and down North and South Main Street as well, from Novellas to Salt and Smoke to Magpies to the Tompkins House, all sorts of good food to fit any taste, whatever you might be looking for. They have an insomnia cookies down there now, which blew me away. I'm going to have to go in there and check that out. That place is open late. So if you're looking for some late night food, might want to pop in and get your sugar fix from Insomnia Cookies. Whatever it might be, start your trip at the website, discoverstcharles.com. There's a lot of stuff happening right now with St. Charles and the festivals. You might want to make sure, just go by the Convention and Visitors Bureau and let them know, hey, we really love all the festivals you guys put on and all the cool things you guys do here. How can we help the Convention and Visitors Bureau? Pop your head in and talk to Ryan or Elizabeth there and just let them know you're supporting them. Ask what you can do to help. They might have some stuff in mind that you could do, some people you might want to send an email to, just to make sure that the Convention and Visitors Bureau has your full backing and trust, because they do a lot of hard work to make the festivals and all the stuff that goes on down there smooth running and fun for everybody. So check them out. Again, plan your trip at the website, whether you're near or far. DiscoverStCharles.com is the best place to go. Plan your trip, stay at a nice place, check out some good food or some really cool shops, no matter what it is. These are all small businesses that make up North and South Main, and it's a lot of fun, so make sure to check it out. Once again, the website, DiscoverStCharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Chatting movies here for just a little while longer. We've got a couple more to cover. The other one I saw that Joey V did not see is because Joey V works very hard and he decided not to go to this movie and instead help out a sick friend, from what I understand. Nobody 2, which is the Bob Odenkirk movie where he is a former CIA operative. And the first one, I really enjoyed the first one. It was gritty. It was kind of unexpected, came out of nowhere. You don't expect Bob Odenkirk as an action hero. But it went really well. Connie Nielsen plays his wife. Christopher Lloyd plays his father. Our friend Michael Ironside played his father-in-law in that movie. And I thought he was supposed to be in this one because it listed on his IMDb credits as being in Nobody 2. He's not in it, though. Nowhere to be seen. So I'm not sure if it was a mistake on IMDb's part. Something got left on the cutting room floor, maybe. But Michael Ironside himself said, yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that because I didn't film anything extra for it. So Michael Ironside not in this one. It's the sequel is still fun. If I'm looking at this right, just to make sure I got the numbers right, the original, which came out in 2021, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, has an 84% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. The sequel has held its own. It's down a little bit, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. It didn't have quite the edge that the first one had. It was a lighter fare. I'll almost forgive it because the premise on this one, the last one was nobody knew he was a former CIA operative, fixer, whatever you want to call it. And he gets into an altercation with some people on the bus, beats up this Russian mob boss's nephew or son, if I remember correctly. And so they send the mob after him and realize, oh, we messed with the wrong guy because this guy is former CIA operative. He's back on the radar for the CIA. They thought he'd kind of fallen off the radar, retired, whatever it is. But this one, he is now in full swing. He's working off a debt that he now owes the CIA for. They covered all this massive money that evidently he lost for the Russian mob. So now he's working every day, doing things and for the CIA on a wet works kind of a basis. And he says, you know what? I need a vacation. His family's we don't ever see dad anymore. So they all go on a vacation. So it was a little bit meant to be, I think, a lighter type of movie because they're on vacation. However, he ends up going to this small town that his dad took him to, Christopher Lloyd, who evidently, come to find out, used to be kind of a mobster himself. And this town is run by some less than savory people. The law enforcement's kind of corrupt. And it's all linchpin on this is Sharon Stone's character, who is a villain who kind of runs all of her drugs and money and everything through this small town. So he falls into this by mistake, ends up getting on the wrong side of Sharon Stone's organization, and it all heads up in this big water park that he went to as a kid that he now booby traps. And it very inventive kills. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. I don't regret watching it, but it lacked the same punch, pardon the expression, as the first movie. It didn't have that same grit, which is how I can almost forgive because it's the kind of the way the film presents itself. Oh, I'm on vacation. So it's meant to be a little bit lighter, I guess. And it was certainly that. It was still a lot of fun. Not as much fun as the first one, but still very enjoyable. I think I gave this one 3.5 out of 5, maybe 3 or 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which actually matches what Letterboxd's current score is. And this is kind of like the same thing. Bob Odenkirk's a little bit on the older side of being believable as an action hero, much like Liam Neeson was in the Taken movies, but somehow it works. He's a great, he does the job really well. The whole cast is a lot of fun, and anytime Christopher Lloyd gets to work a machine gun, I'm in for it. So overall, I'd say if you're skeptical but you need something to see in the theater, by all means, go check this one out. If you're not sure and want to save your money, wait for it to come on streaming. It's nothing that you need to see in theaters. That's my 2 cents.
I was really looking forward to this because the first one literally saved Bob Odenkirk's life because he was working out during Nobody, the first one, and getting in shape for that. He suffered a heart attack on the set of Better Call Saul. They had to do CPR on him for 12 minutes and defibrillate him for, 3 shocks, and he actually came back to life. He was almost clinically dead.
Gosh.
And I think Nobody won for doing that. So he's already got the goodwill to make as many of these as he wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll keep saving his life because he's going to keep staying in shape. What's cool is that I kind of knew this would be a stunt-focused movie because the guy behind the John Wick movies, David Leitch, and The Fall Guy, his production company is behind this.
Okay.
So it's really just a reason to do an action set piece in a cool environment. And it sounds like it would be amazing if they did this. What is it? Action Park? Remember that place in New Jersey? They made a documentary about this. There was this taped together just theme park where people were getting hurt nonstop, and it was a badge of honor if you got concussed while at Action Park. And they had slides that would send you flying and go-karts that would crash because they were going 80 miles an hour. And it sounds like maybe that was the inspiration for this movie. Like, what if we did Home Alone but in Action Park, New Jersey? And I can't wait to see some of these exciting stunts that were the whole reason they made this movie. I guess the script isn't much to brag about, but it's only 89 minutes.
It's quick.
It's got to be fun to watch no matter what.
It is quick. Like I said, the kills were inventive. It was fun to watch that, when it hits the third act and it's kind of like, like you said, Home Alone in a water park or Die Hard in a water park where they've kind of set their traps. They're kind of luring Sharon Stone's army of assassins in. It's a lot of fun. It moves quickly. It was well paced. So yeah, like I said, it's good. But it wasn't as good as the first one.
I wonder if there's any other Home Alone but in a movies that we can start working on, because The Equalizer with Denzel Washington, who we talked about a little bit earlier from Highest to Lowest, he did Home Alone in a Home Depot.
Yeah.
That was The Equalizer, where he was just shooting nail guns in the back of people's heads, and that was incredible. I wonder if there's Home Alone in a radio station that we can make for the 24, 48-hour film festival.
We should look into that. If we draw action this year, maybe we can work that out.
You know, KTRS is right here inside of a walking mall, basically.
Yeah.
So we've got escalators. We could do a lot of fun stuff here.
Yeah, we just get permission from the landlords to sign off on that, and we'll see how that goes.
We can't assure you that James will not die on this, though.
Well, if I do, I've got to leave a note, then you can make your screenplay. So we'll see full circle. Look at that coming right back. Chance Bartel said Fall Guy movie was awful, but he enjoyed Bullet Train. I liked the Fall Guy movie. I thought it was kind of, again, charming. It was predictable, but it was fun. I loved Bullet Train, though, with Brad Pitt. I thought that was fantastic, and Laura hated it. But I really enjoyed Bullet Train. It was probably one of my favorite movies of that year. It came out, what was that, 2022? Bullet Train? Regardless, I enjoy that one quite a bit. While we've got a little bit of time here, we've got about 6 minutes. We both saw Happy Gilmore 2, so we'll end this with yet another sequel. You talked about it briefly last time we reviewed movies with Janelle Breimer, and you said this was not one of your favorites.
It was torture, because it actually starts off pretty good. With Happy Gilmore 2, they immediately take this big swing that you were not expecting with one of the characters from the first movie, who may or may not be Elizabeth Banks or Julie Bowen. We don't know. The jury's still out. If you were listening to Outdoors Dan about 30 minutes ago, there was a huge controversy that James forgot Julie Bowen's actual
I thought it was
name.
Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, it's
this
all
whole
right.
time. I'm an idiot.
That's the lady who made Cocaine Bear.
They look alike.
But they take a big swing with Julie Bowen's character, and I was wrong-footed, but then they were really building up the family dynamic, because in this movie, Adam Sandler has 5 kids. 4 or 5 kids, 4 boys, 1 girl, who knows? They're all over the place. And so
Julie Bowen and Elizabeth Banks play his children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I was enjoying seeing how much of a family man he had become after he fell from grace. You know, he can't afford all these children, and that's why he gets back into being a professional golfer. And so the first 20, 30 minutes, I was enjoying it. And then it takes just a nosedive in that third act to me. Maybe if you're a huge fan of Mr. Beast YouTube type editing with bright colors and, explosions going off and energy drinks, you might like that. But for a movie to also be a comedy and over 2 hours, that was egregious. It was just a reason to put all of those cameos in. They say something along the lines of 50 real-life golfers are in this with cameos. And golfers, historically, some of the funniest people you'll ever meet. Oh, the greatest actors. No, every time a golfer speaks in this, it takes me out of it because they're so bad. People say, oh, Scotty Scheffler, he's better than I thought. Well, that's still not good, in my opinion. But if you're a huge golf fan, you may like it because it's taking some jabs at the Live golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying that we need to protect old-timey golf, which is weird because Happy Gilmore's an outsider. He doesn't like old-timey golf in the first one. So for him to totally vouch for old-timey golf, traditional golf, was a weird turn also for me.
Yeah, I think the fact that because that's the whole premise of this, is there's this new extreme sports golf league that they try to come and create.
Not mini golf, but maxi golf.
Maxi golf, that's right. That was the name of it. And it was...
should have been sponsored by Poise. Maxi pad golf.
But it was, they try to say that, Happy, you're the original outsider. You should totally come join us. But obviously, this guy who's running the Maxi Golf thing is obviously the villain of this whole thing. He's much like Bradley Whitford's character was in Billy Madison. He's the guy who's trying to set up Happy Gilmore for failure. Come join me. Oh, you won't? Well, then I'm going to destroy everything you've got. He was in the first one. Give me your dad's company, Billy Madison, or I will destroy everything. I'll now burn everything down. So, yeah, I get it, because there was that kind of like, well, he's the outsider, but he's kind of been accepted into these ranks now, and he's still the bad boy of golf, I guess. But to see him kind of have to work back up to get back into shape to where he used to be, overall, I enjoyed it. It was only about 20 minutes longer than the original, so the length didn't bother me. A lot of the golf cameos, I had no idea who most of those people were because I don't watch golf. But it was fine. it was obviously not in this. I was thinking about this because I made a comment before on this show that some of the best sequels we've gotten have come out 25 and 30 years after the fact now with, Top Gun Maverick. And we've got, some of the other ones, Blade Runner 2049 I mentioned.
Yeah.
Some movies that have come out 20 and 30 years after the fact that are tremendously good. This is the exception that proves the rule. It's not better than the first one. It's not even as good as the first one. I enjoyed it. Obviously, Adam Sandler is now quite a bit older than he was in 1996 when the first one came out. And that shows that he was playing that, obviously, because that's kind of the premise is, I haven't got the same swing as I used to. He did in the end, and it was a comeback story. But the best part of this movie was Shooter McGavin. Him coming back. I don't want to spoil the movie. It's been out for, July 25th?
Netflix has released the numbers, and literally every person in the world has watched it twice. If you believe Netflix, I mean, they just make up the numbers.
Okay. Well, Christopher McDonald's character, Shooter McGavin, ends up, he's in a loony bin from what happened to him at the end of the first one. So he comes back, and you think, oh, he's going to be the bad guy. And they do a little twist because he ends up finding common ground with Happy, and they join forces against this Maxi Golf League guy. So I enjoyed it overall. It wasn't as good. Like I said, it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was enjoyable. A lot of the cameos, like a lot of the people who passed away, they had the son, I think, of...
Everybody's the son of somebody in this. It's ridiculous.
They had a lot of that going on. Ben Stiller's back as the groundskeeper who now runs an Alcoholics Anonymous thing. He's making everyone do his work like he had everyone at the nursing home doing his work. For what it was okay. If you're a Happy Gilmore fan or if you like Adam Sandler's work, and I do, it's worth seeing. So I'd say if you probably already seen it, so I'm probably preaching to the choir at this point according to Netflix because everyone's seen it. But it was good. It was decent. I enjoyed it.
I was at Lake of the Ozarks on my vacation, and I told the whole family, don't watch Happy Gilmore 2 until we get down to the lake and we can watch it together. So I enjoyed having that communal experience, though. We had the water outside and the boats going by and the big TV in the living room. And so that was fun, but it was still a 2.5 out of 5 for me. Okay. And I know it's a comedy, but that big fight scene in the graveyard where they have every single person who's ever died in the cast from the first movie, it's kind of a weird premise to be fighting on the graves of everyone who has actually died in real life. Like the Mista lady.
Yeah, she
just fighting on her grave.
Got lines. And Chance, there is actually a small Bob Barker cameo in the movie, Chance. So there you go. Obviously, kind of a weirdly done, but that's the way it was. Yeah, there was a small Bob Barker cameo. But yeah, if you're a Happy Gilmore fan or an Adam Sandler fan, I recommend checking it out because it is fun, but it's not anything. It's not earth-shattering. It's not great. It's not a Top Gun Maverick or Blade Runner 2049 where it's like, oh, this is an incredible movie. It was only okay.
Yeah, I mentioned Happy Gilmore 2 during our The Naked Gun 2025 review because I thought it was going to take that same route of everyone being the son of someone because Liam Neeson is the son of Leslie Nielsen and then his partner is the son of George Kennedy. But then they take that joke and just make fun of that idea. And they have the Hall of Legends, and everyone is crying in front of a picture of their dead father. And that's where we get the O.J. Simpson joke from The Naked Gun.
Which
the son of
O.J.
is like, I don't really miss you, Dad.
Yeah, one of the best jokes of the movie, for sure. So that's our reviews so far for those 5 movies. That's the 5 movies we've seen recently. We will probably do some more as we get into the season here. Like I said, no screeners planned, but we've got some great shows coming up for you down the road here. I feel like one of those ring announcers moving my thing. My screen is frozen over here, so if you're watching on video, I'm not sure if you can still hear us or not, but we are still here. Don't worry. Next week, we have Brandon Schuster's coming in. Chef Liz, it's her son. He's got a gaming pop-up. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can check that out. We'll have him on to talk about that. Plus, Matt Manjurides, who is working with Troma Films. He has a new project coming out that we're going to talk with him about. And then I'm so excited because on the 31st of August, we're going to have Joaquim Dos Santos join us for the entire show. You can text him your questions if you want to talk about Across the Spider-Verse. Obviously, he was the director of that. Wrote and directed Voltron, Legendary Defender for Netflix, going all the way back to the Justice League days, Justice League Unlimited, the stuff he worked on for that. So we've got a lot of questions for Joaquim Dos Santos. And then the following Sunday, on September the 7th, we have Dynamic Music Partners in Lolita Manis, Michael McHouston, Christopher Carter will be joining us to talk about the music of all those great Warner Brothers animated features and some other stuff that they've got coming up as well. So make sure to check that out. We've got some great shows on tap for the next 3 weeks, and then we get into the rest of September, and I don't want to give anything away. We'll tell you about that as we get closer. But that's going to do it. Joey V hates giving out his letterbox. You don't want people following you, do you?
You can follow me if you want, Joey_VEE. And I want everyone to go see the 35th anniversary of Ninja Turtles in theaters right now. All the Marcus is carrying them, and they're releasing the first 3 on 4K just in time for Christmas. So get your pre-orders in for Ninja Turtles from 1990.
And I will be going to see Batman 89 and Batman Returns. They've got that coming out in the new Dolby surround sound in the theaters, certain AMC theaters.
I love it when they do a new mix for the sound, when everything was mono back then.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I'll be seeing those movies. So we're going to come back and talk about that a little bit too. You never know. Thank you all of you for listening. Thank you to all of you who joined us in the chats. Thank you very much to the St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you to Bugs, Comics, and Games. And until next week, my friends.
This is Geek to Me Radio. That's our show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Hollywood. Good night.
From ABC News.